Hey guys, Ivan, Dima, can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Hi, we can.
great. All right, so Ivan, great to have you with us.
Yes, thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, so I see we already get some people to join in, and I want to say that this recording would be available also on XP.NETWORK website, on Twitter, and on different socials on top of this live session. So for those who are joining us today, welcome, and for those who will be listening after this recording, then this is another session of XP Talks, and we are very happy to welcome Ivan from Gems Town. So Ivan, how are you today?
Oh, thank you. I'm good. Actually, was quite hammered yesterday due to all this San Valentine Day celebration. So I'm happy to be alive and be today here with you guys.
We're happy to have you. So this is another talk that we are going to talk a bit more about Gems Town, on top of the things that you guys are publishing and all the things that are available for the public. We want to drill down a bit to talk about being multi-chain, and you guys are also interacting with different chains, and want to hear more about this and about, of course, integrating to the XP.NETWORK bridge, becoming fully accessible to all of the partner chains. And without further ado, Ivan, I'd like to have you introduce yourself and Gems Town.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. So yes, I'm Ivan, and I'm a developer from Finland. We have a small team of developers here, and we've been doing the Web 2 projects for a lot of, maybe around 10 or 12 years. And gradually we shift towards Web 3. And one of our first project was the Gems Town, the multi-chain marketplace that actually been rebranded from the Metatron. But that's a long story. But the point is that the marketplace was our first project, and basically we quite fast realized that being on one network is probably not as liquid as being on multiple networks, and obviously that was driven a lot by our users and the collections that we were working with, because a lot of those collections were getting in touch with us for two different reasons. So one of them, for example, wanted to migrate away from the chain they were in, and the second one to migrate from the chain they were to the new chain. And for both of these cases, we were working like back to back with XP.NETWORK to facilitate the lending, because most of the time users would love to kind of have the same experience if they're moving from one chain to another. If it's still the same marketplace, or if it will change, or if they're moving, for example, to something niche like a Harmony chain or Bitgert or whatever, then they would need the marketplace that could accommodate them in this final destination. So that was what we've been doing, and we've been working basically like back to back with with the XP.NETWORK and Gems Town in the like last 1.5 year, if I correct. Yeah, it's like in a nutshell what we have done together.
Right, thank you for that. I also know that you are both busy on Gems Town and also on Moon Robots and on Protocol.art.
Yes,
right?
Indeed. There's two other projects that we're working on, because obviously like the marketplace operational business is a great and it's still like taking a lot of time. Obviously, that's something that is a little bit harder to maintain on the bear market, because as you understand, the operational side of marketplace business is heavily depends on the commissions. And if you look at the commissions that marketplaces are usually generates, that's not something that you can like you can really like run on the long term. So there's, as you know, there's a lot of marketplaces out there, but there's a few of them making enough operational profit to actually keep building and keep developing those projects. So for us, it's been like up and go, and we've been mostly focusing on the smaller networks, because the Ethereum, Polygon, and other networks was super. There was super heavy competitors out there, so we did like our work on the smaller networks, and we've been pretty successful on them. Just on Harmony alone, we made like around $500,000 in turnover, and then we did some smaller turnovers on other networks. But then we also did the game because that was our kind of intention from the very beginning, due to the experience of my team, because they have previously been the game developers, and we've been looking to make this game. And actually now we're also in the plans of migrating the same game, and we obviously going to use the bridge, and we 100% will use the XP.NETWORK to facilitate that bridge. The only thing is that we are not 100% sure like which network we're going yet, because there could be people who are listening, so they would probably so they don't lose the shoes. But yeah, that was our second project, and our very last project and very latest project is the Protocol.art. So this one we do together with .art TLD domain. So it's top level domain zone called .art, similar to .com or .xyz or .io. And we also do it in partnership with ENS Lab. So the ENS Lab, the one who run the ENS protocol and ETH domains that you can see in my handle, for example. So those names are issued only on Ethereum. And what we did is basically, it's quite interesting because we also did a bridge in a way. So what we are offering, or what we're going to offer in the near future, is that you can mint your DNS name directly on Ethereum. And you can have this name to be workable as your wallet, as your smart contract, as everything that ENS provides. But at the same time, you can use our bridge to transfer this domain to the DNS. And then you can use this to transfer DNS domain to the ENS. So it's like making NFT out of regular domains. So this is something that we have to do our own, because this kind of bridge was not exist. It's not like regular type of bridge. It's not even 100% like the bridge, as you will. It's just something that looks and feels like a bridge. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So it was a lot of things happening, and I personally would love to also, like, when we have a little bit of time left, would love to ask you a couple of questions about the latest changes in the industry, like NFTs on the Bitcoin and a couple of other things.
Sure. So first of all, I want to say that you guys sounds that you are specifically also extremely busy on the NFT, so true NFT enthusiast. So congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. We are very, very passionate about NFTs as well, as you can tell. And we are big believers that NFTs are, this is something that we say on every talk that we have, that we are very happy to see new utilities, because this is exactly the reason why we started the project XP.NETWORK and why we built this technology and delivered it into the market, in the purpose of making it fully easy, fully available, and super easy, I would say, for projects just like yourselves, and for games, for metaverses, and for all utilities of all kinds, to actually have the ability to move NFTs across the different blockchains, across different protocols, and break basically this isolated island materia that is very much populating the market, and what the crypto market is pretty much known for. So this is, breaking down those barriers is what makes it more reachable and give higher reach for projects, for marketplaces, for DNS developers, for domains developers, and for any games, metaverses, music industry, basically any utility of the NFTs to be available across different protocols and different chains. And we are very, very, very much engaged and thrilled to actually have more utilities just like yourselves utilizing that. So with that being said, we are very keen on having those new utilities coming in, especially the domain market, which is growing pretty extensively at this point. I believe we already had 2 talks with the utilizers of the bridge that already are building up and implementing domain technologies across with NFTs. So this is something that is also on the rise. Without actually, being focused, by the way, on specific topic of games or domains or any kind of specific utility of NFTs, what would you say from your point, especially as you and your team are leading up a whole basically set of projects? What would you say is your take on the market for the next time, especially where we are right now? Where do you see the NFT market going to?
Wow, that's a great question. So I personally agree with what you said about the NFT. This is something that, of course, I hear a lot of time now, especially from mature industries, that NFTs and crypto is considered to be a curse word. We are the Web3, and they're just they really want to participate, but they're some kind so all of these companies that either would love to try the NFTs, they're very afraid of it. That's what I can see, because we basically been doing these projects with a lot of peers, and sometimes there is also mature Web2 companies like .art, for example, and it takes a lot of time to actually convince, make enough researches, and make that actually make something useful. Because what we're doing, for example, with .art, we're not issuing another NFT, just pictures or PFP or anything without utility. This one is heavily utility based token. It's it's your name, it's your website, it's everything. You can in the future, the potential of those kind of NFTs are on the rise. So I can see there is like actually more and more utility coming towards NFTs, especially as the legislation comes to place, as long as all of those tools are actually usable. Because I'm from Finland, for example, I'm still having a lot of problems receiving money in crypto. I'm still having a lot of problem trading NFTs because my market is not mature enough to actually accommodate, like have enough bookkeepers to actually who actually be able to understand what I'm showing them, right? Because that's the problem of what we're experiencing right now. And people asking me like, would it be like, what do you think would going to happen to crypto in like 20 years, for example? I believe that the crypto would definitely become the mainstream because everybody who are against crypto, they're going to be like deceased by then. It's it's a fact. And everybody who born recently, like they haven't seen anything, but they seen the crypto being around for as long as they've been around. So for them, it's just the same form of money. That's like the new generation they're using now this Roblox dollars, and they pretty much understand that how the world run. That there's multiple currencies and everything like that, and that their skins for this Roblox could cost like up to 150 or like $5,000, which is also makes a lot of sense for them because they know that it's a digital flex, right? And what I'm saying basically on a lot of my IMAs and when people asking me, for example, about domains, like why would you, for example, buy some expensive domain? That's pretty interesting because we are working in digital environments and we are not anymore in this old form of running the businesses where we actually have to show that we have a visit cards, we have a nice office, we all riding a good cars, we're wearing clean costumes and stuff like that. And nowadays it's all gone and we're on the internet. And the only thing that matters on the internet is the signal that is hard to replicate, right? So when you're writing to me on Twitter and I see that you actually have some kind of like a very decent PFP on your profile, which is verified, I could I could estimate that you actually spend or 60 to 100,000 just on your look. And then if you, on top of that, you have like a domain, which is, for example, like 111.eth or something very short, then I would assume that you actually sending me signals that are very hard to fake, right? So that's a business development in 2023. If you want to do business development, you're not calling people, you're not sending them emails. You're actually showing them that you are the one they have to speak to, right? Because this is how you create, like how you cut through this noise, how you cut through the buzz, because it's getting way more difficult, right? Day by day. So I think that's all about NFTs. NFTs are our new, let's say, like in simple terms, our new digital flex. It's our business development tools. It's our value exchange tools. It's how we're going to build the organizations in the future because the DAO and other like concepts are extremely powerful. We did the DAO multiple times with multiple people for different reasons, and every time it was great because and every time you try to open the company in the real world, you probably it will take you forever because you need like if people are from different sides of the world, that's almost impossible to make a company open, like put their 15 people in one day, give everybody a share of this company, right? That's impossible. So that's why this kind of like organizations are growing like as mushrooms, and basically we're going to see probably even more of them in the future.
Thank you for that. And I fully agree with all of that statement. So basically, we see that, this is actually coming up to me two topics of questions. So number one, and I'll ask one after the other, no worries, but number one is that, talk about the off-crypto communities, and their ability to reach the crypto market by actually having utility to play with and actually have more interactions, just like you say. So this is the future. This is, where it becomes mainstream. Yeah. So from my side, the key point to actually make it fully mainstream the crypto market is to have access to the off crypto community. And I myself, I'm truly believing, and of course, the rest of XP.NETWORK team is on the same notion that the NFTs are the best utilizer for off crypto communities because it offers the most and easiest way for people to actually interact with the crypto market. And we actually saw this on several of our utilizers utilizing the bridge, for example, that they're already creating games and different kinds of utilities without even the need to connect with a wallet or to interact with a token, just to give this first taste and initial glance to people that are coming in that are not oriented at all with the crypto or with wallets or with any of this architecture. Now, why is that? It's because there is value to the things that you guys developing that is not like limited or grounded just to the crypto technology, right? So there is value beyond that, and the crypto is an enabler instead of being, the reason that people are coming in. So
Yeah.
this is the key point that is making crypto and could make crypto as a mainstream from our take, right? And for that, we also made XP.NETWORK to make it super easy for that vision to be fulfilled. Now, the second thing that is coming up to me is that, protocols like you guys, because you have such a wide, view about the market, which I fully agree on. So this will be my next question: what is the leading protocol that you see in the next time that is actually rising for the NFT market?
Can I clarify when you say protocol?
I
Do
mean,
you
the
mean like
blockchain technology, like
yeah, the blockchain technology, right? Yeah. So to be honest, like we've been researching a lot because that what happened with Harmony. Probably you have heard that Harmony have been hacked for 100 million due to the bridge hack. So I have seen like literally every single project are leaving Harmony, right? That we actually the Moon Robots was the only project that decided not to leave Harmony at this point because everybody was just running without any kind of idea where they're going. And what we have seen, that's pretty interesting just to as observation to know, because we've seen a lot of folks are moving to the chains where they, for example, have a contact or they used to work there or did something for this chain before, and they're moving the whole project to the new chain, and then the gas fees on the new chain are much higher than it actually makes sense to play. So the game become unplayable because 70% of your actions in the game are actually leading you to the minus due to the high gas fees. So that's basically what have happened to 70% of projects that moved from Harmony. So and why is it happening? Because Harmony was having the one of the highest transaction per second among all of this layer 2 EVM copycats, right? So that was pretty extreme because you were actually able to make like a batch transaction where it's like a super heavy transaction, like claiming like 25 lands and like 25 robots, sending them on quest and everything. It's going to cost you like 0.3 native tokens, and it's like 10 cents, and so it's like around 3 cents, right? For a huge transaction that basically kind of like transacting your whole wallet, your all assets and everything. So you're not spending more than 3 cents per day playing the games, right? So if you look at alternative of this kind of networks, there is actually one which is I think it's called Vax, right? That's the EOS fork, but the Vax was extremely popular among games also due to this only fact that it's extremely cheap, right? So for us to see any kind of adoption globally, any kind of success, we need to see the Ethereum actually like scaling up to like to much higher TPS, and then the rest of the networks. Obviously, we all know about layer 2, and we know about some side networks, and some of them actually makes a lot of sense. But as you understand, right, there some of them are pretty much like too much like they're similar to each other so much it's very hard to make any distinguish between them, right? So I think the going forward, like increase in the speed, that's one thing that needs to happen. Second is increase in the speed of IPFS, that have to happen. And the third thing is that we need to have like a little bit, I think something like a meta type of wallet bridge and stuff like that, because I've seen some guys already doing that. For example, for no bank, guys from no bank do this, that you can run your non-custodial wallet on your phone, and then if you need to make a transaction on Solana, you can actually do it with your wallet without even having a wallet on Solana. You can just use this same Ethereum wallet, and they will do the bridge for you. They will pay the transaction from your whatever wallet you want. You want to pay from Binance? Sure, let's pay from Binance. You want to pay from your Solana wallet and make a transaction on Ethereum? Sure, let's go. So this kind of thing should like be kind of like simplified, right? Because what we do with domains is extremely complicated for people that we work with. Even people who are seasoned in this topic, they're still like roasting their brain of how that should work, how that and how this should work. But when it's actually delivered to the end user, they don't see anything like that. They see only one button, and if it's not working, they're gonna get pissed, right? That's all. So that's pretty much straightforward, right? So we need to develop, we need to increase the speed, we need to like reduce the latency. That's pretty much like the the long journey.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you actually mentioned, I wanted to weigh in on that for Harmony, for example, that this is one of the things that we see, right? We see this from the one side, we see this rise of different chains, different protocols, and from the other side, we also see those promising chains also, getting wiped almost like instantly. And this is what we know as the crypto market, of course, but actually also relevant to the traditional market. This also can happen for issued companies, but this is, really an opportunity for having these shifts in the market. Like, for example, in Harmony, we as XP Network, we saw projects that actually came and utilized XP Network to the point that they actually wanted to move, I would say, abandon ship, right? From Harmony protocol to other protocols without the need to actually go and develop and build and construct new technology to support your collection, which is, I would say, which is actually worth mentioning here. One of the biggest, powers that XP Network brings to the market is that you don't actually have to be minting new NFTs or supporting in terms of tech. I'm sure that you guys, in order for you to support other chains, you had to do some development adaptations to that. And this is time, money, skill that not all project has. And this is one of the limitations for the market, one of the barriers, not just from community side, but also from developer side. So coming to that point, Harmony is really was really promising in that sense, right, for NFTs and all. And we got to the point that projects came to actually move entire collections to other basically protocols, while not needing to actually, well, not in need, I would say, to develop them on the new chains. And this is something that is overall making things easier, right? The ability to mobilize the NFTs across the different places and list them on different marketplaces. And for example, NFT that was minted on a chain that is not supported on Gems Town can actually be minted there and on the other chain, right? And be listed on Gems Town just as if it was minted on one of the supported chains. So one of the cases that we see, for example, are people coming for different chains, for example, like BSC, that is, it's pretty cheap to actually mint the NFT there, and moving them to Ethereum to actually list on OpenSea. So one of the main utilities of the bridge. That
Well, is that actually cheaper?
So yes, minting on other chains that is, I would say, like generally, right? Minting on other chains that is not Ethereum is cheaper, and specifically on BSC, it is much cheaper, right? Dima, you may correct me if it's already it's not the case by now, but last time I checked, it was much cheaper on BSC. And anyway, this means that when you actually mint on BSC, the collection, so you can take that into consideration, having the bridge supported on both BSC and Ethereum gives you the ability to move those collections just as if it was minted on Ethereum originally. So this is one of the key technologies that we have here, right? We move all the properties, all the things. Dima would actually speak about it in a few, more about the tech of the bridge and about integrating all in all. But this is one of the things that we see out of need to actually be able to be versatile in these shifting markets and this shifting technology to the point that you don't have to put all your cards on one chain and, win it or lose it, right?
Exactly. That was pretty, that was, to be honest, it was like extremely interesting to me to see that because we see a lot of, we see kind of social disbalance in terms of what people think they will do and what actually happening on the market. Because a lot of NFT projects, you made a good point. 95% of them, they don't have any skills. Not only like not to bridge, they don't even have the skills to generate their PFPs. They're using tools for that, right? So we're speaking about heavily kind of like under skilled market in terms of like solutions and stuff. And what's surprising me a lot is that people are actually like heavily and like very specifically want to mint something on Ethereum, while there was like a huge gap on a lot of networks. I literally like know maybe 25 networks out there with a lot of like maybe a 50 to 100,000 users where there is literally not a single PFP collection yet, right? So why is it the case, right? That's the case because people are not like, they do not believe on NFTs on other chains. So there should happen something before you will start to believe on the NFTs on other chains, right? Because that's kind of like, it's still like a little bit chain agnostic, because we have seen what have happened to our game when the Harmony was hacked, right? We seen the we've seen this speculative volume like gone from NFTs in one day, right? We basically lost. Not actually, that's funny. So I was actually going to poke this question back to you. So I was going to ask you, like, why you think that there is such a disbalance in terms of like people are so focused on one or two or three chains, they're not doing enough projects on the smaller chains, even like kind of like demand supply on those chains are actually in their favor.
The answer to that is very simple and quite obvious, I would say. This is from financial reasons, right? From economical reasons. So from developer side, and you might also relate from developers and entrepreneur side, that actually building up projects, raising monies, and creating projects, this is like a matter of life or death for them, right? They have to choose the right protocol, and they have to convince both their investors and the community and everyone that is taking part in that project why their decision was the best one, and why is that blockchain is basically they're becoming like, I would say, sellers of that blockchains, or like salesmen of this protocol, to the point that they have to actually get the idea of why this blockchain is actually going to be on the rise, right? So why this protocol is going to get a lot of users. And the main question is always, why is it different from Ethereum, right? How is it different? How is it better? How is it? So I'm talking about NFT utility, right? So for NFT utility, still Ethereum is on top of other things, of course, but on the specific prospect of NFTs, this is still the number one place for user base. So why not all projects just develop on Ethereum and that's it? Why there are new blockchains for that? So again, for the developer side and entrepreneur side, the reason for them to choose one blockchain over another is really from, I would say, a balance standpoint, that you actually need to decide on a blockchain that both enables you to create your project, right? So it can actually enable you to mint the collection, because if it will just minting would cost you, I would say, $1 million just to mint and fulfill your collection. If you create a metaverse, if you create, a game, this is tons of NFTs that you have to mint, right? So Ethereum would not be your best choice in that case. So for that, we created this, I would say, secondary market of people that really need to have access to user base, but don't have the capital to be there, right? So this is from entrepreneurs and developers side. This is why they decide one blockchain over another. And for the community side, to your question, this is really, from their side is actually, I would say, they are pretty agnostic about it, right? So the communities are going to where the bigger or the biggest interest, volume, trendiness is happening, but the users and the community doesn't really care. For them, it's all one big place, one big, blue earth. So for them, it's not like it's separated to islands as we know it. And this is what they need to see to become fully mainstream. So this is what they need to be having the ability to interact with, right? Not differentiated by a specific blockchain, or which one is good now, which one is bad, or which tokens should I hold at this point.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I could agree definitely. As you mentioned, right? People kind of like they see the Ethereum first, and I think a lot of other chains are in this chicken and egg problem, right? What's come first, like community or good projects? Because you need the good projects to bring good community, and you need good community to bring a good project. So that's pretty much what we have seen on a lot of networks. It's really hard to to take off with one or two great projects that could lead new developers joining. Yeah, that's a very good point. And we recently also noticed, like when we developed the marketplace, we were thinking like what the future will bring us in terms of bridges, because we were thinking that collection would become like a little bit more mixed. So you would actually see the collection where the collection is simultaneously sits on multiple chains, right? So we've been thinking towards that, but obviously this is not happening yet to the reasons that 95 to 99% of the collections are actually on Ethereum and few other major networks. Have you, by the way, we've all seen this latest development in Bitcoin NFTs, and you probably have more skin in the game to comment on that. I think it's still a very vibrant topic, Nir. If you don't mind, can you please give us your thoughts? Because I already seen there is one dude who bridged his ape to Bitcoin, and this is like one-way bridge. So he actually did that for this, Satoshi with encrypted data, and there is no bridge other way. So he can't bring it back to Ethereum. What do you think about this hype with the Bitcoin NFTs? And is there so just what is it in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for that. And for, I would say that not actually answering to the body of the question of specifically BTC, about the Bitcoin NFTs, because, well, it's all about trendiness, right? It's about interest and it's about a change of breeze, right? So I would say that the market is very susceptible to having new ways or new claim to the throne of, okay, this is where the action is going to be, right? So I would say this is what we see with. I'm talking only from commercially standpoint, right? I'm not going into the the functionalities and the process speed and the performance and the cost breakdown. I'm just talking on the very high level commercial side. This is what we see when a new chain, just like Solana, for example, is attracting enormous amount of attention and people actually going, okay, I'm going there. Okay, it's all in. So remember that the crypto market is really all about, this is what we see constantly. It's all about the next hype. I wouldn't say that the market is stabilized to the point that you can actually foresee who's going to be at what point or what is the next big thing, like really, So there is not enough data in the market to that point. So what we see is really when there is a sense like something strongest like Bitcoin NFTs that is saying that, okay, this is associated with Bitcoin, this is a trend that we know, this is something that we know is successful, and this is now, tackling the NFT side. This is something that, by the way, same for BNB. This is also, like, I would say, big potential holders for taking not the throne, but a big part of it, a big chunk of it. And this is what we also saw with Metaplex ecosystem and Solana. And we actually just been a few months back at Solana Breakpoint, just before, by the way, the whole situation with the whole scandal with FTX and the whole situation there. So we've been there, and we had Dima and myself been there, and we've had the pleasure of meeting a lot of NFT projects and a lot of utilities and a lot of excitement about the market, right? About the NFT market and about Solana and what Solana holds for it. So this is a big part of the market itself, creating the hype and, of course, supporting it with the value. And it's actually right for all market, also for conventional market, but I would say it is a bit more amplified on the crypto side. Now, I wanted to thank you for that question, of course, and I wanted to move also from Dima's side, Dima, our CTO, to talk a bit more about the integration process and about overall connecting to the bridge, and what can we expect from that side, having connecting Gems Town and Moon's Robots and the other projects that you guys are working on from the domain side. What is the process on connecting to the bridge? So I want to hear a bit from Dima about it, how easy it is, and where and what abilities does it empower your NFTs? Dima. Okay, so some connection problem today.
It's okay. I can just give like a quick answer before Dmitry will fix that.
Please replace
that. So basically, we have integrated bridge, the XP.NETWORK bridge, to our marketplace Gems Town, and the integration took us literally no time. Right, the integration is so flawless, it's so simple, it's very straightforward, and you can actually go deeper and just make a very seamless integration if you want to do it like directly in your app or anything. There is like also SDKs for that, which was extremely easy for us to integrate that and been working with XP.NETWORK along this 1.5 year when we just helped like a different collections from the marketplace standpoint. But that was pretty easy. Dmitry, if you have your connection fixed, the stage is yours. Tell us more.
Hi guys. Sorry I didn't miss the question. I had a phone call and it threw me away. So could you repeat the question, please?
So the question is like, can you tell us more about the integrations, how that actually works, and give more technical details on basically if anybody looking to integrate it into their project, what kind of benefit, what kind of utility, how easy is that?
Yeah, sure. So the bridge is focused on bridging only non-fungible or semi-fungible tokens, unlike other bridges that concentrate mainly on fungible token bridging, and non-fungibles are like a side project for them. So because we concentrate on non-fungible tokens, we do everything for the tokens to look and feel and behave like native on the other side. So bridge works like an adapter between different standards and between different protocols. What's the most important is we bring the metadata from the chain of origin to the chain of destination Plus, we save all the information about the original NFT, where it was minted, the contract address, the ID of this NFT. Everything resides on the chain of destination as well. So the wrapped NFTs know that they're wrapped and they know where they come from. The integration process is super easy. Previously, we did a lot of work manually. I mean, the team of XP.NETWORK. So we had to deploy contracts to sort of host your wrapped NFTs on the other side to be the ledgers for them. But now, with the third version of the bridge that we launched this month, a couple of days ago, it is automated. So you can, any user can deploy a target smart contract to the chain where they wish to migrate, and it will accept all the NFTs from this collection for you, which became super easy and seamless. So also another tool that we had for protecting our bridge from hacking was whitelisting. As you know, many hacks were done with the help of smart contracts because it's easy to access a lot of data of a contract or to call it in a special way using smart contract. And there's a special name called YUL, which is like the name for solidity in EVM. And it has functionalities that regular solidity doesn't have. So you can use it to hack other contracts if they're vulnerable to such hacks. So in order to avoid even potentially this situation, we introduced something like a firewall in Web3, which is whitelisting. So we scan the contract of origin with another special tool that we developed. We see that it doesn't have the potentially dangerous calls. And then if that's the case, we add this contract to the array of whitelisted or trusted, and then we interact with this contract. So again, previously it was done more or less manually, and now we automated it. So now anybody can just click a button and the contract will be scanned and either added to the whitelist, or the user will be informed that it's impossible for some reasons. Some benevolent contracts cannot be whitelisted for the following reasons. Contracts can be upgradable. It means that you have like a proxy contract, and then the implementation can be changed by the admin of the proxy at any moment. So we cannot trust this proxy, this setting, because the code can be replaced, and then some malicious activity may start happening. So we do not whitelist such contracts, but as long as it's just a contract which is standard NFT contract, then it will be very quickly whitelisted, added to the bridge, and you can send your tokens from one chain to another. Speaking about the utility, I can say the following. There are life cycles of products. A product is born, then you invest in marketing the product, people get to know it, your sales grow, but eventually you reach a peak, and then there's nothing you can do, your sales fall. What do? You find another market, you bring your product there, and you repeat the cycle. So bridging allows you, without creating a new collection, take the rest of your collection, which wasn't sold in one market, you can take it to another market and repeat the cycle. That's what the bridge is for. Another utility is this, like you discussed, that it's too expensive to do things on Ethereum because of the fees. And there are more chains where you can, for example, submit your game transactions because of the cheap fees. So it also makes sense. Why do people go to Ethereum and other expensive chains? It's because they expect to sell their assets at the highest rates, right? They expect that, and it's actually psychologically true. So everybody expects that an NFT would cost more on Ethereum than on some other chain, because if you're ready to pay a lot for the transaction fees, then obviously the asset itself should be expensive. So what people do is they mint their collections on Ethereum, collect some money for development of a game or something, and then they migrate their collection to a cheaper chain where it makes more sense to submit the in-game transactions. And that's again where the bridge comes into play. So you can migrate the entire collection from Ethereum, let's say to Polygon, where the transactions are very cheap, or to any other chain like Harmony. So basically, if you have any more questions.
Oh, yes, I do. Thank you, Dmitry. That was a great presentation. I was 2 years old when I learned about semi-fungible tokens. I looked them up and I was like, oh, I've been doing them for quite a while. I didn't know they're semi-fungible, to be honest, but that makes a lot of sense. I wanted to ask you actually a couple of questions. So yeah, that what you do, guys, is actually like, it's a beautiful. I wonder, like, just like the weird question, but just wonder, like, for example, how do you actually like, make sure that like the NFT would land, right? That they wouldn't be lost in between, because we've seen the cases where something weird is happening, right? And then you were able to find and recover this NFT in no time. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? Because like, that basically like non-NFT are lost, and like what do you call it? There's a little bit of stupidity, or like a stupid friendly interface, so you can't actually lose your NFTs. Is that correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so we are doing like this. Every transaction in the bridge has its own ID, and it's handled by the smart contract on the chain of origin. And then there's like a second stage when it's handled by the bridge validators that reside off-chain, and therefore you can call them oracles. So this bridge contract, it emits an event, and inside the event, it packs all the information about the NFT that you want to bridge, including the section ID. So this section ID makes sure that this transaction only happens once. You can't repeat this transaction. You can't mint two similar tokens on the other side. Then the bridge validators, they also add more information to the section ID. They take into account the chain ID of the chain of origin and the chain of destination. And they mutate the ID that was generated by the original bridge contract to something new. Now it's super original. I mean, this ID becomes unique for the entire bridge. It means you cannot have two similar IDs if a token is coming from Polygon and BSC, because otherwise they can clash and they can create something weird. Like one NFT could overwrite another. So that's why validators mutate them. They take into account the chain IDs, and then this ID becomes unique.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we know that this transaction, that this event belongs to this transaction.
Right.
And this is how we track NFTs inside the bridge. So if something happens on the way, for example, some validators went off and then they went up, okay, and they started talking with the other validators, and they said, okay, what about this transaction? Mm-hmm. What about this transaction ID? Okay, and they say, okay, they read the event, they unpack it, they sign it, and then it goes through, something like this.
Okay. So is that correct that if, for example, the project exists on 3 different networks, and I will move from A to B, then from B to C, and then if I move this token from C back to A, I would get back this original NFT?
Yes, exactly. So what we do is we lock the original NFTs, because, in the contracts we have roles, right? And the bridge contract has no roles in the NFT contracts that we bridge, because maybe it was written long after this contract even was created, right? For example, let's say CryptoPunks was created 5 years ago, and our bridge contract was created several years ago, right? So it didn't even exist, so it couldn't have any role in that contract. So if we burned that NFT before sending it somewhere, we would lose it forever. So what we do is we lock it instead, and then whenever somebody sends it back, we unlock it. So the bridge contract becomes the owner of this NFT, while this NFT is somewhere else on another chain. And then it just gives it to the new user whenever it's sent back.
But that's not custodial holding. It's basically smart contract lock, right? Escrow type of contract. But yeah, just to make sure for everybody there, so their XP.NETWORK is not holding NFTs in cold wallets and stuff, right?
No. Yes.
Well, that's super cool. And just to clarify also this one thing, that I think for everybody out there, because the people are different. There's a lot of builders, there's a lot of community managers and project managers. How they can not only obviously we spoke a lot about benefiting the community and what kind of capabilities it brings to the project, but can you also elaborate on if there is any fees that I could integrate or that are integrated that kind of also could help the project, or to kind of to, for example, partially compensate for the work that they're associated with this, bridging to the new network. And so, as you said, it's pretty expensive, right? So where the company would be able to put a 10 cents for the bridge or something?
Well, actually, I wouldn't say it's very expensive. It certainly depends on the chains between which you're sending.
Obviously.
Of course, Ethereum is the most expensive chain at the moment. But if you're sending between other chains, like let's say BC and Polygon, it's not expensive
No, I
at
mean
all.
like
All the
just a
transaction would.
development for the project itself, like the project who looking to migrate, right? They need to invest their time and money into the new network, right? And then they have to invest time and money in explaining all their users of how this bridge will work and everything like that. So is there a way that I can like that companies actually would be able to put like some fees to on top of the bridge? Is that in part of the functionality or not?
Are you talking about the companies being able to pay for the transactions?
For example, would they be able to pay
collection?
for the transactions of their users if they want to provide it for free, or would they be able to charge like as much as they want for those bridge? Like, is there such a functionality where end user, like the project, can control the financial aspect of that?
Well, at the moment, it's implemented like this so that the NFT owner pays for the transaction. Because otherwise, if we implement it in any other way, it could be a potential for hacking it. Okay, so only the user can send. But what you could do is the users, your ecosystem members, they could send you the transactions where they actually did the bridging. You will see how many fees they paid, and you could just refund it.
Oh, that's great. That's the great way also to do that. You can also
Okay, that is secure. You don't need to develop anything. It's like pretty straightforward.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I think for a lot of projects out there, that also makes a lot of sense because they just want to make sure that what the gas fees and what's the all it's all about, right? Because a lot of projects, like a lot of tools in Web3, actually pretty costly. But I think with the XP network, we haven't even seen like that to be the case, right? The bridge works directly. The commissions and fees are mostly related on what's the commission and fees of destination and departure blockchain, right?
Correct.
What's next for XP network, guys? I saw you guys connected like to a couple of new networks, especially Ton, right? The Ton is pretty interesting because it's like now it's getting into the position where they're actually looking to buy the Ton, .Ton, the TLD, as I know, and they actually working a lot on like different use cases. Like now I think like you are like just a month away from being able to pay for your premium with Ton on Telegram and stuff like that. What's next for the bridge? What's you working on, guys? Can you enclose us what this year will bring?
Right, you're quite right that Ton is something that we recently integrated. It's actually been integrated for quite a while, but we were testing it, and we needed some time for the team to confirm that it's ready. And Ton is also interesting because very soon you'll be able to transfer money directly in Telegram, meaning Ton, of course. So we expect a lot of hype around this blockchain because of this. It's a blockchain with a tool like Telegram, unlike many other blockchains. We also recently added Scale, which is another interesting EVM chain. They're not just cheap, but transactions are sort of free on the chain, which is also very good for games. They have a native token called S-Fuel. It's free. You just get it in a faucet as if it were a testnet. It prevents denial of service attacks on the chain, but it allows you to submit transactions.
You can get just
however, on Scale, you have to know that it's easy to bridge to Scale using our bridge. But if you want to send it back, you will need wrapped Ethereum in Europe Ethereum contract on Scale to be able to pay for the transaction to send it back. So it's just something that you have to know. It's not that it's going to be costly, just some information that is essential for you if you ever want to send it somewhere.
That's a good point. Is there any other networks that you are currently working on, or is it already in testing and you can disclose us like what's next network you're integrating?
Yes, sure. Everything is actually on our roadmap. So we're currently working on Aptos. We're currently working on Solana and Internet Computer.
Oh, the Internet Computer ICP, right? Where they actually do something similar to IPFS.
Yes, it's a blockchain where you can store data, and the point is that the blockchain is like a distributed computer. That's the idea of this blockchain. It's also very interesting, and they're also interested in developing their NFT ecosystem. Right now, we're in the process of auditing the smart contract, We never deploy production contracts without proper auditing them, and that's where we are. Once we finished with the auditing, it will take us a couple of more weeks to deploy and test, and then it will be up.
Right, thank you for that, Dima, and Ivan for the deeper tech review. And I want to actually have an opportunity to talk about a couple of small things before we're reaching up to the 1 hour markup. So, Ivan, it would be great. Also, great questions to XP.NETWORK side. It would be great to also get from your side, to those who are tuned in today and for those who are listening to the recording, what is the roadmap for Gems Town and for also for the arts project, for the domains, and for the moon robots? If it's one big roadmap, or is it breakdown separately for each of them? And I would focus more on Gems Town in terms of this year roadmap or the foreseeable future.
Right, that's a great question. So I think like there is two aspects which we actually will do. So for the Gems Town, obviously the future, like we are looking to change the Gems Town like dramatically, because we seen like a different need in the NFT industry that what most marketplaces offers now, and this is something that is kind of like under a lot of NDAs and locks right now. We're trying to figure it out the whole thing together. But the point is that we will move away from like regular marketplace model, and this I will be happy to explore in the future. Then for the moon robots, we are going to migrate the game in the near future, and there we will definitely use the XP.NETWORK bridge. And we have a lot of assets. We have 60,000 items currently, like not burned for anything yet. We have 4,000 robots. We have like 4,000 lands. We have as much X and land beads, around 8,000 total. So there is plenty of NFT. We're speaking like 100,000 NFTs to be bridged, and there is a lot of work to be done there. And we're going to be working on that during this year, because the game is getting like more mature. We have around 350 players monthly, and we're growing into that point. And we're looking to like reboot the game on the new network. Which network it will be, it's also kind of like to be announced, but that's something that we are working on right now. And for the domains, obviously, like there is the current project that we're working on is the mint is going to be on the March 1st. So like all our guns are now on this, but that's going to be like, that's going to have like will take some time. But we also like looking at, you see, the bridges are pretty important. Your bridge that opens this kind of utility, and this our very small niche bridge for domains. It's also a bridge in a way, and that's something that we have to build as a community. We have to build to make the whole, to bring more of these projects together, as you said, like opening new doors and kind of like increasing the ecosystem, because it was like an echo chamber of Ethereum. But by bringing this, bridge for DNS domains, bridge for non-fungible and semi-fungible tokens with XP.NETWORK, that opens like the whole ecosystem, right? And in the future, the next thing I want to see is that you won't even think about bridges anymore. You will just know that things are rolling, right? You want to send it there, boom, you send it there with your MetaMask. You don't even need to go into XP.NETWORK. So I hope they will integrate those kind of things directly in the future, and that's kind of my take on that's what the future hopefully will bring for all of us.
Well, I aim for people who still need XP.NETWORK, but to make that seamless experience on that side, right? So that's from our side. All right, Ivan, we just reached our 1 hour markup. It's been a pleasure to host you. Before we tune out, I want you to please mention up to everyone that is here and joining in after the recording, where is it the best way to actually start following you, the companies, and to be tuned in with everything that you guys are planning?
To be honest, I'm trying to be the face of like my team and kind of like send all the messages, all the updates on my personal Telegram, my personal Twitter as much as possible. And then all of our projects like Moon Robots are tuned in. The other projects you can find in my handles. But obviously, like I'm building in this industry. I'm trying to be on top of things, and I'm trying to help people. If you're working on something related, or maybe you just want somebody to look at your project, just have like somebody else's opinion, my doors are open. I'm trying to answer as many messages as I can, as long as they're constructive. If you want to get something like particular from me, I'm happy. to provide like value to people out there, because there's only 200,000 developers in crypto, and there's 1,100,000 nearly surgeon in the whole world. So we have more surgeon than developers. So that's that's something that we have to change internally. So that's why you guys, my doors are open, and thank you for coming today and listening and tuning in for the whole hour.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Dima. It's been absolutely great, and we're looking forward to do this again. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.